Hello everyone. Dzień dobry Państwu. Bom dia a todos no Brasil. Sejam bem-vindos. My name is Magdalena Stefanowicz-Czygielska. I'm a trade and investment specialist at the Embassy of Brazil in Poland, and I will be your host today. I would like to welcome you to the third webinar organized by the BraSilesia Accelerator, which is a joint acceleration program created by Polish and Brazilian companies and institutions and directed at innovative startups and SMEs from both countries. Today's webinar will focus on impact projects and on the ways that new technologies can contribute to solving some of the most pressing world problems. We will start with a keynote speech by an expert from Grid Warsaw Center, which is affiliated with the United Nations Environmental Program. And then we will hear from some big companies, startups, venture capital, and public investors. I would also like to invite you to stay with us once all the presentations are done for a networking session. You will have an opportunity to talk to startups. They will have their own virtual tables, but you can also join the common coffee room and have a broader conversations with other participants. If you have any questions during the presentations, you can always ask them on our chat. And if you maybe during the whole webinar get tired of listening to the presentations, you can join our coffee room, which will be available throughout the whole event, and do some networking there. I would like to direct some words also at our speakers. Welcome. First of all, I wish you good luck, and I would like to kindly ask you, because our event is quite packed, so I would like to kindly ask you not to exceed the time assigned for your presentation, if it's possible. Thank you very much. And before we proceed to the next stages, I'd like to invite Ms. Adriana Ferreira de Faria, Executive Director of the tecnoPARQ of Viçosa, which is a partner institution at the BraSilesia Accelerator, to say a few words about the acceleration program. Thank you and enjoy the webinar.
So, hello everyone, good morning, good afternoon, good morning from Brazil, good afternoon from Poland. So thank you so much. It's a great pleasure for us to be here for our third webinar. We are working hard in this acceleration program since the beginning of these years. So for us, it's a great pleasure. We are very happy with this opportunity. So first of all, I would like to say thanks to our partners from Poland side and from Brazil side, the Katowicka Zone of Economic Development for the support, the Invento, the Specjalna, the Uniwersytet Śląski, the partners of government of Minas Gerais state at Brazil, and I'm executive director of tecnoPARQ. In the name of our tecnoPARQ, I would like to say thanks to our university, the Federal University of Viçosa, which support our activities. So what is BraSilesia? Why we are here? So that's the major important question. So the BraSilesia, you can to the next slide. So the BraSilesia, it's a program which was created from these partners that I have said to establish and to support new technology companies, small and medium companies, with desire to make your business abroad for Poland or Brazil side. So you're going to offer the opportunities to validate the market, to expand to a new market, find foreign business partner, exchange domain knowledge, find new foreign team members, create the joint of a research and development projects. So our program is divided in stages. The first stage is that we are right now about the webinar, about the sensibilization about this program. We have invited entrepreneurs, companies, spin-offs, startups, venture capitals, big techs to talk about the opportunities and the things that we can do together. So please, the next slide. So as I told, we are in this first stage when we are promoting and build market attentions to disseminate the ideas of our programs. Okay, so the next stage is about application process. So we hope that we are going to have startups, small, medium companies from Brazil side and Poland side. After the applications, and we have to expect to have a lot of projects of the two countries. Okay, we are going to proceed as selections, and so we are going to have the acceleration program in an online way. In this online program acceleration, we are going to have 3 months when we are going to support and we support the entrepreneurs and the companies with mentors, consultancies, networking, and after that we are going to have the demo day when we expect to have the venture caps, venture builds, and the most important for us from the Brazil side and Poland side, we really expect to have companies with desire to go abroad to Poland or Brazil. So the last stage, the last but not least, it's the soft landing programs from winners. In these soft landing programs, we can go to the next slide. These startups, they are going to have the support from, in our case, from tecnoPARQ of Viçosa, and from Poland side, from Spain, University of Silesia, Invento, and the other partners to establish the business abroad in this country. So we really hope that we enjoy ourselves today. We are going to have great presentations about the green, the healthy and inclusive world that the technology innovation can support new solutions for the market. Here in this third webinar, we're going to have the techs, big techs, talking about what they do, what they need, and we really hope that the startups we are going to participate with us can provide solutions, or maybe and more special to think about new projects, new products, and establish connections. So we are going to hear all the time, and thank you so much to be here with us.
Obrigada,
Thank
Adriana.
you.
Thank you
Thank
very
you,
much.
Madalena.
Thank you. Thank you for describing the BraSilesia Acceleration Program. We're all certain that it will contribute to bringing together the Polish and Brazilian innovation ecosystems. In fact, it's already happening, so thank you very much. And now the next point on our schedule will be the keynote speech. It's my pleasure to invite our keynote speaker, Mr. Bartłomiej Kozek, Head of Green Transition at the United Nations Environment Program, Grid Warsaw Center, to talk about how we can work together on finding solutions to current world problems. Welcome, Mr. Kozek. The floor is yours.
Good afternoon here in Poland. Good morning for participants in Brazil. Today I will be having the pleasure of giving you the keynote speech regarding sustainability, the main trends, and how it can change the world around us, and how it can change, for example, our quality of life, the quality of the environment that surrounds us, as well as the quality of business models different companies pursue. Just a short notice about who we are. We are working here in Poland, in Warsaw, since 1991. We had our 30th anniversary this year, and our job here is to promote the research conducted by the United Nations Environment Programme, so promoting sustainability across the board, across different actors of the social, political, economic life here in Poland. And I have the pleasure to be the head of the Green Transition Department in our center, focusing on issues such as climate, cities, sustainable cities, and circular economy. So to cut the long story short, one of the key themes of our work is promoting sustainable development goals, especially, of course, the ones connected to the environment. So in 2015, the United Nations created a new blueprint for humanity, a global blueprint of 17 goals, focusing on the interactions between environmental, social, and economic goals. It's important to note that these goals cannot be achieved with a silo approach. We need a holistic approach, including all of the issues discussed within Sustainable Development Goals and their interactions as well. And these are interesting. This can be an interesting tool to also measure the development of the global community, especially during troubled times such as the ones we were having and still are, sadly, in these months of the coronavirus pandemic, which led to the fact that quite a lot of the improvements in global sustainable development have been put to a halt or even regressed. And it's clear from the social perspective, it's clear in healthcare systems that were overburdened for many millions of people across the globe. This meant a disruption in their access to quality healthcare, in their access towards education, may lead to risks regarding global development, global sustainable development, and the risk that these sustainable development goals will not be achieved by the time frame that they were discussed and developed, that is by 2030. So of course, these are social goals and social issues, but the coronavirus pandemic also had and has an important and negative effect on the global workforce, on the global economy, which led to problems with supply chains, with access towards goods, problems with production of different types of goods and services, and of course problems within the workforce, such as unemployment and risks of economic recession. But even during these troubled times, when we had an economic slowdown, and right now we're trying to make an economic recovery, our toll towards nature was still quite important. Even during this time, the last year, in which there was a shutdown on quite large parts of the global economy. According to different statistics, the drop of greenhouse gas emissions was 6 to 7%, while in order to achieve the Paris climate goals put forward in the Paris Climate Agreement in 2015, we should be seeing a drop by 7.6% each year to 2030 in order to have the chance to limit the growth of the average global temperature to 1.5 degrees Celsius in comparison to the pre-industrial times. So it's a huge challenge. And even with this economic recovery, we are already seeing increasing interest and increasing resource extraction, increasing greenhouse gas emissions, and then that clearly contradicts the goal of achieving sustainability and sustainable development goals, because it's hard to create an economy that is sustainable in the long term if we don't care about the social structures and the environmental background which sustains life on Earth, sustains our quality of life. And it's also important to know that even during these troubled times, these are not the only challenges that are ahead of us. And the United Nations prepared a document on their 75th anniversary showcasing the long-term trends and challenges within global development and global sustainable development. And these 5 challenges are issues related to climate, environment, and pollution, issues related to demographic change, the fact that more and more societies across the globe, and not only within the global north, so to speak, are aging and not just developing. The issues of urbanization, the fact that more and more percentage of the global population lives in cities, the issues of technology and their impacts on nature and on society, and of course inequalities both on the national and global scales. So these are all challenges, but these challenges also can be opportunities, because while there are some trends that are problematic and troubling, there are also trends that may allow us to be a bit more optimistic about the future of the world. So we are at a crossroads. We know that things need to change. We know that the economy cannot be focusing solely on producing more goods and services. It needs to sustain our quality of life and sustain the quality of the environment in order for it to be a long-term project. We know that we need to rebuild after the pandemic, so there is a huge challenge on what the funds, such as different types of stimulus packages across the world, such as different financial instruments offered by banking and financing institutions, whether or not these funds will go towards building a green and just economy, or whether or not they will be spent on showcasing and trying to return to the status quo. The status quo, we know that is not sustainable on the long term, due to the fact that the rise of greenhouse gas emissions, the rise of resource use is clearly unsustainable within these trends we are talking about. But we also know that there is a chance for more global cooperation. For example, in climate issues, we had recently the COP26 event in Glasgow. So we've seen that while some people may think that it's not as ambitious as it should be, we are seeing more declarations regarding achieving the goal of climate neutrality by mid-century, which is important. And according to reports from scientific circles such as the IPCC, the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, needs to happen for us in order for this climate change, this climate crisis to not go overboard, to not become uncontrollable and unadaptable for us, for our societies, and for our economies. So we see this global opportunity for global cooperation. We see this not only at the global level, but also at the local level, because, for example, cities, metropolises across the world see that caring for the environment, that creating conditions for a green and just recovery after the pandemic, and creating sustainable cities will become the opportunity to upgrade the quality of life of inhabitants. And it can be also a business opportunity to create and to use, for example, data and new technologies for upgrading quality of life, to more efficient uses of energy and resources, to create new sustainable business models to allow us to have more sustainable, more low carbon modes of transport, for example, and more low carbon modes of living, more low carbon ways of building buildings and living within them. So these, while challenges, they are also, like I said, opportunities for creating new conditions, better conditions of life, better conditions of conducting businesses as well. And speaking of business, there are many different types of partnerships, both within businesses themselves, but also between businesses and other stakeholders in the global society and the global economy. So different alliances whose goals are to create sustainable and promote sustainable business models, which are extremely important, because it's not only important to talk about these changes, but it's also important to implement them, to exchange good practices for us to know better how to change and how businesses can change, how they can become emit less greenhouse gas emissions, become more resource efficient, resource smart, become ready for this green economy of tomorrow to be a green economy for today. And we are also creating such conditions here in Poland, be it by the SDG partnership Together for the Environment, which connects businesses, local governments, scientific circles in order to promote sustainable development goals, or climate leadership, a program in which we support businesses in achieving climate neutrality goals, in getting on this road that will lead them towards climate neutrality. So these types of alliances allow us to create climate and environmental champions, companies that are ready and are not waiting just for legislation that forces them to change, but they change themselves in order to create business models that are fit for the future. And we know that also consumer trends are changing, and companies try to adapt to it as well. Changes within diets, more plant-based diets, changes in alternative ways and alternative products used to package different goods, changes in buildings, in more low carbon resources used to build them, the return to wood sometimes in terms of buildings, but also using new technologies, using phones, using tablets, using internet data, cloud computing, many different types of new technologies to create, for example, applications that allow us to have more environmentally friendly transport modes, much more easier to use, much more accessible to us. And of course, the rise of interest due to, for example, lowering prices of renewable energies. These are all trends that are also not only changing markets and not only changing the company's business models, but are also changing consumer behaviors. So we're having this positive, in this case, feedback loop in which these changes try to reinforce each other as well. But we are not only consumers, we are also citizens of our respective countries, citizens of the world, and we see that the interest in environmental protection, the interest in fight with climate change, with the climate crisis, is steadily rising across the globe. And it's not just an issue of the global north, so to speak, but it's a global phenomenon. People are expecting more from their governments, expecting more from companies, their cities in which they live. They change their lifestyles and business models. We can always discuss whether or not these societal changes occur as fast as some would want to, or whether or not they should be hastened. But the fact of the matter is that, for example, different opinion polls in Poland showcase that people are getting more aware regarding the state of the environment, regarding the state of the climate, and are seeing that their choices, the countries they live in, the choices, the companies they put their money in, are affecting the state of the environment, the state of the climate. So this means a change of the market. This means a change in business models. This means that businesses need to adapt. And there are many opportunities for businesses to do that, be it in different partnerships, be it by using scientific data, be it in reading, for example, different reports that are trying to engage the business community and the scientific circles in order to achieve positive solutions for the planet. These are all issues that may help businesses and change. And of course, there are both incumbent businesses and new ones. The new ones that are also disrupting the old ones because they're having more and more often sustainability at their core. So they become a challenge towards the established ones as well, in order to, maybe not adapt or die, but they either need to change their business models to more sustainable ones, or risk more and more financial risks when they won't get financing for the investments that they would like, legislative changes that may come when they are not prepared to change towards more climate, environmental, people-friendly solutions. There are also risks regarding to their reputation, because we know that one of the main trends in environmental circles is calling out greenwashing. So the solutions put forward, or sometimes even PR actions that are not supported by deeds, and not only goals but also concrete actions of different companies. So this becomes a risk for so many different reasons that it's important to get to know them. It's important to get to know the ways in which we can change towards these sustainable business models. We can improve and enhance and implement sustainability in our everyday life, and of course the businesses we run, in which we contact with. But it's also important to know about these trends and try to adapt the business models we use in order to not only to thrive in a better planet with more healthy, more happy people across the board. So that would be quite enough from my side. Thank you for your attention, and it was a pleasure and an honor to be invited to your event. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kozek, for your thorough presentation and for providing the COVID-related context to some of the challenges and trends, and certainly for showing us the paths to positive change and sustainability. Thank you very much. And now we will hear from big enterprises about what they can do to be more sustainable. So, as I've mentioned before, we will now talk about the challenges for big companies, how they can be more planet friendly, responsible, and how they could work with startups and SMEs to achieve positive impact. And for that, I would like to welcome Mr. Augusto Thiago, sustainability coordinator at Klabin. Klabin is the biggest producer, exporter, and recycler of paper in Brazil. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much for the invitation, folks. My name is Thiago. I'm one of the people responsible for the sustainability management at Klabin. More precisely, I'm responsible for sustainability insights and for managing the company sustainability strategy overall. I will hopefully bring some interesting points for your consideration today. We can just start with these slides. Thank you. Starting with a quick overview, Klabin is a Brazilian forest-based company established more than 120 years ago. Is today Brazil's largest paper manufacturer and exporter, and the leader of production on various papers for packaging purposes. It is also a very competitive pulp player in the market, and to sustain all that, we count on 23 industrial units in Brazil, one in Argentina, and more than 23,000 people or employees working with us. Next slide, please. Okay, and then I guess maybe I'm for sure that one of the strongest characteristics of the company is a very integrated and flexible business model with 4 business units presented there in the slide. So starting with forestry operations, then the transformation into pulp, then to paper, and then for packaging, establishing a very strong presence in both local and domestic and international markets. Next slide, please. Operations are pretty much spread over a good part of the country, with Klabin's forests concentrated in the south and the southeast of the country, in the states of Santa Catarina, Paraná, and São Paulo. You can see on the screen the SC, PR, and SP states. These 3 states, they are within the Atlantic forest biome. We call in Portuguese Mata Atlântica, which is an extremely rich and very endangered ecosystem. And this information is key to the continuity of our conversation here today. Next slide, please. So I was invited today to address mainly the forestry aspects of our operation, which is, I think it's great actually, due to the enormous challenges and opportunities for a greener, healthier, and more inclusive world, which is, I believe, is the main topic to be discussed today. So I will try to give you some highlights from both operational aspects and from my personal perspectives as well. And although the organizers, they asked me to talk about main opportunities for new technologies focusing on sustainability, I warn you that I will actually present you with more questions for reflection rather than clear opportunities to be tackled. But let's hope for the best. Here in this slide, you can see our forests. They are among the most productive in the world. They are relatively close to the mills, which makes our operations very intense and very competitive. We manage more than 520,000 hectares of forests, with an average of 100 trees planted per minute. Next slide, please. The company has about 270,000 hectares of planted forests, and about 250,000 hectares of preserved native woodlands, which represents about 43% of its total land. And when I say planted forests, please understand I'm talking about pine and eucalyptus species only. Both are exotic trees here in Brazil. We do not harvest any native tree species for production purposes. Our native land are solely for conservation, scientific studies related to biodiversity, and pretty much to generate ecosystem or biodiversity services, which I will be explaining in the coming slides. Next slide, please. Thank you. So Klabin was a pioneer, or is a pioneer, in the adoption of the mosaic forest management system, which is pretty much means combining big portions of planted forests. You can see there in the darker areas highlighted in the photo in front of you, with native preserved forests in order to form what we call ecological corridors. Ecological corridors are long interconnections of native forests that you can see right there crossing throughout this line right in the middle of the picture. Next slide, please. Thank you. So the mosaic system is essential, is pretty much essential actually for the preservation and restoration of local biodiversity, once it provides a constant, safe place for species to live and to transit, to pass through, away from any human interactions. And this is pretty much the value, the real value of these corridors. Today, the mosaic system is adopted throughout the forestry sector in the country, but I'm pretty sure it is adopted as well in many other parts of the globe. And this became actually mainstream, not because it was trendy or mandatory according to any law or certification, but because other companies were trying pretty much to achieve what Klabin achieved, which was one of the highest pine and eucalyptus plantations yields in the world. Klabin's business case shows that when it comes to keeping highest productivity rates, and here again I stress that because it's important, we're talking about plantations of pine and eucalyptus only. The maintenance of the ecosystem quality is vital. So is the preservation of biodiversity, which is pretty much responsible for all ecosystem services that we need, that we benefit from in the planted forests, like, for instance, regular rain cycles and water availability, pollination, soil nutrients, natural plague control, and so on. We have so many others. As you can imagine, the wood that is being harvested in our plantations in the quantity, quality, and speed that we need is pretty much the heart of the business, and is a centerpiece as well of our production chain, our production system, pretty much. And actually, when I say system, it's because I'm not referring only to Klabin, but also I'm including here so many of our clients which relies on our paper packaging solutions. So the capacity of our planted forests to be highly productive means the continuity of many other production chains, and the same goes actually for many other agricultural commodities. And I guess the big takeaway from here is that the preservation and the restoration of natural ecosystems are key elements to improve our capacity to regenerate the land and therefore boost the productivity of our planted forests. On the next slide, please. Thank you. So here, I guess we have the first huge challenge for our business model, which is pretty much a threat to any productive activity, which is the biodiversity loss. In the much evidence discussions nowadays regarding climate change and carbon, one of the related catastrophic impacts for human existence that we still have a long way to progress we have to advance is the loss of biodiversity. I'm pretty sure many of you just followed recently in Glasgow at the COP26 that there was a lot of discussions on how we can't limit the impacts of climate change without investing in nature restoration. And we also repeatedly heard actually with emphasis how climate, people, and nature, they are pretty much connected, and most especially how human well-being in general and the societal challenges of our times, they are completely dependent on biodiversity benefits. So for some practical facts, in Brazil, 44% of total emissions are due to deforestation. Agriculture comes second with 28%, both activities most impacting for biodiversity loss. And in the case of agriculture specifically, it is also for sure one of the most, the one with the most economic impact related as well due to or caused by the loss of biodiversity. And the delicate limit of our current understanding on how biodiversity works is that we never really know actually the real impact of the decrease or disappearance of one single species on another species, and the systemic interconnection between the disappearance of many species at some point may lead us to a collapse of the ecosystem services that I mentioned before. And I guess it should be by now kind of easy for you to connect the dots and start to make the connection between the topics, which are how the productivity or the economy actually of a country, of a sector, can be impacted due to the biodiversity loss and the failure, for instance, of some ecosystem services. And although we do not yet have all the answers on the economic loss, the fact is that we are pretty much actually the process of disappearance of non-biodiversity is pretty much accelerated, and it's still accelerating, as scientists say. So we are really actually behind schedule in the actions to reverse it, and we cannot start feeling the economic impact before taking action. So here I bring some, what I would say, challenging areas, which I believe are opportunities for technology, for new technologies actually to address that. So some questions. So how to help reducing and reversing biodiversity loss that are obviously one unwanted consequence of not only our operations, but the operations of any human activity. How to increase accuracy in the data we collect on the species living within the forests in order to better orientate our preservation, protection, and rewilding efforts. How to increase knowledge about land and territories to speed up the connectivity between multiple properties. And here I'm thinking on connectivity between multiple agricultural commodities, multiple farms, and thinking about actually creating areas with the highest biodiversity conservation value possible. Today, we manage to do that, to look into that on a small scale with a micro look. But how is it possible? How we could actually create such a significant ecological corridor connecting farms from the southern to the northern Brazil, or even between countries, and how to develop large-scale techniques and models to measure the contribution of biodiversity species to agricultural productions. Science has already developed many theories and metrics but we have, I guess, even managed actually to monetize some of the ecosystem services provided by some of the biodiversity species. But how to connect data all together, modeling this system of contributions of each preserved species to the good production or the high yields of any human agricultural input, for instance. I think this would be a key knowledge in convincing people, especially landowners, about the value of preservation. And I know these questions, they are very much broad, although I think they are useful and important for all productive sectors, but perhaps difficult to realize or indicate where to start from. So next slide, please. In Klabin's case, I guess we have some clues to help to facilitate actually this path, which is pretty much our sustainability strategy, and certainly many other companies have similar tracks that could be combined in order to define or find where is most urgent and therefore cost saving actually to start on the sustainability challenges. On our sustainability strategy, we have 23 public targets, of which I brought you only some related to biodiversity. Diving into each of these goals may be the path actually to technological innovations that allow us to reverse this negative impact. And obviously here I'm talking in general, not the negative impact of private sector operations on biodiversity. I invite you to visit our ESG panel on the link there below in order to learn actually about all the goals. Today, I will just highlight, we will just explore together just one in order to provide you with some more clarity about the complexity of the process and therefore all the potential for technological innovations, which is the first bullet there, to reintroduce two extinct species and promote the increase in the number of 4 other threatened species. In the next slide, please. Okay, so this rewilding goal of ours is performed by our ecological park, which is basically Klabin's staff, composed of veterinarians, biologists, and animal caretakers, working exclusively to promote biodiversity conservation, rehabilitation, and animal welfare activities in general. All of them connected, 100% connected with the Klabin's operations. They count on a kind of a zoo that was built by Klabin back in the 80s, to support scientific research and environmental education projects. So, if we take the initiative to reintroduce just one species, and here, as an example, I bring the bird, which is in the center of the slide, that's called jacutinga, which is an extinct species in the region where we operate. So it will take us about 2 years to complete a full cycle of trial, meaning that between the first stages you see there on the studies on the behavior of the species and on the reasons that may have led to its extinction, to finally to the day when we release the animal that was born in captivity, it will take us 2 years with no guaranteed success. And why is that? Mainly because after the release, we still have to monitor the response of the released animal and the response actually of the ecosystem itself. Monitoring after reintroduction is an ecosystem of opportunities itself. I would say our internal team, they are actually they used to perform constant work in partnership with outside entities that actually can bring innovation to this process. But there is certainly much more to be done. So questions like how to gain in quality or time actually in each process, in each stage, and where and how actually we could use technological innovation to increase the initiative's chance to succeed. I guess some of the example we have actually some examples showcased in our ESG panel that I invite you to go and check. On the next slide, please. Okay, so still related but changing a little bit the focus, and I believe I guess all these benefits of preserving and restoring biodiversity, they are even more relevant when we consider the number of small and medium-sized farming families, not only in Brazil, and the importance actually of their livelihoods, not only for the local economy, but as well for the global economy. So this is pretty much what I consider to be the second important challenge that we could actually think together today, at least. Klabin has historic ties with local rural producers, and actually many of them are long-standing wood partners of the company. In the early 2000s, we started considering a landscape approach intended to broaden actually the positive impact that we have in our territory of influence. That soon after, we created our first engagement program with these partner producers that is called in Portuguese Matas Legais, aiming actually to share knowledge and provide technical assistance on forest management and on native land and landscape restoration for these rural producers. Then, about 10 years later, we came up with the second. I guess I lost the
I'm
slides
sorry.
here. So,
Yeah, I'm sorry.
okay.
We're over time. We're a bit over time. So if we could move to final conclusions, I would be very, very thankful.
Yeah, sure. Okay. No, I guess some of the questions, I guess, that we could just think together. Again, as I said before, I have, I guess, still more questions than answers to be considered. But I guess all technological innovations that we can come up with to actually accelerate all the endeavors and the efforts to restore biodiversity, we have amazing gains for not only for our own well-being, but as well for our economies. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much for this very interesting presentation. Thank you for talking about Klabin's sustainability efforts and goals, and at the same time for giving us some food for thought, definitely. Okay, thank you very much. And now we will hear from a major Polish company, Tauron, which is one of the biggest energy suppliers in Poland. And for that, I would like to invite Mr. Artur Rzepka, Chief Specialist at the Investment Development Support Office, and Ms. Elżbieta Guzikowska, Senior Specialist at the Communications Office. The floor is yours.
Good morning, Brazil, and good afternoon, Poland. My name is Elżbieta Guzikowska, and it's my great pleasure and joy to be able and have this opportunity to introduce you to Tauron Wytwarzanie and Tauron Group, one of the leading companies in Poland. Tauron Group is one of the largest business entities in Poland, with approximately 15 billion equity, and the numbers you have on the slide. The core businesses of Tauron Group include distribution and supply of electrical energy and heat, as well as generation of electricity and coal mining. Tauron Group supplies approximately 52 terawatt hours of electricity to over 5.6 million people in Poland, and the operations cover the southern part of the country. We are the largest distributor of electricity in the country. and the group is the second largest electricity generator and supplier in Poland, as well as the largest supplier in Silesia, the Upper Silesia. The holding controls approximately 30% of Polish hard coal resources. For many years, TAURON Group has paid great attention to activities in the field of sustainable development and corporate social responsibility. The fundamental assumption of the corporate social responsibility concept at TAURON is to base its enterprise success on its long-term sustainable development. We believe that a business can only thrive and succeed and develop as long as its environmental interest and balance between the strive for financial success and the environment protections are kept. Therefore, our development goals constitute a bundle based on the 3P model. The 3P stand for profit, people, and planet. At TAURON, the postulate of striving for sustainable development is implemented in practice by the Sustainable Development Strategy, which places even greater stress on customer focus, defined as orientation and openness towards the customer, as well as provision of security and quality of product and service suppliers. While seeking to achieve goals, business goals, TAURON Group strongly focuses on sustainable development. At the same time, consciously assuming responsibility for our plans and activities and their impact on employees, their families, local communities, customers, and suppliers. Realizing that sustainable development is an investment that brings measurable benefits today and in the future in each of the distinguished sustainable development areas. Due to the nature of activity of the company and the entire group, we have identified the greatest number of challenges related to sustainable development in area of environmental protection. We use resources, but out of concern about the present and future generations, as well as prospects for the TAURON Group's operation in the future, we strive for doing it in a responsible manner. For this purpose, we manage the environmental aspect based on efficient management, recovery, and reuse of resources, implementation of environmental management systems, investment in modern technologies, continuous upgrade of production assets, optimization of production processes, enhancement of efficient use of resources, education provided to the society, and requirements imposed on suppliers. There's something that was implemented in 2020 in the entire group. It's called Strategic Research Agenda. It's a document that very precisely describes the directions for the development of innovation, as well as it provides a more detailed elaboration of the strategy. A separate project portfolio was created for each direction, so that the main areas of interest are very strictly and identified. And this structure enables selection of the future products and projects to be chosen and others to be rejected. In last year, approximately 40 million Polish zloty was allocated to the research, development, and innovation area. 10 projects, including cooperation with 8 startups, were launched in various lines of business. As part of 4 portfolios of the research and innovations area, 54 projects with a total value of almost 109 million Polish zloty were carried out. Of course, compared to previous years, we identified a significant decline in the number of projects that the TARUN Group got involved in. And we understand that the reason for the decline, that there are 2 main reasons for the decline in the number of new projects. Firstly, of course, it's COVID-19 pandemic. And the second one, it's a redefinition of the portfolio of our R&D and DI projects as a result of the Green Turn. TARUN's Green Turn is a program for the change in the share of coal-fired units to be decreased gradually over years with the significant increase of RES energy sources. As you can see, the pie charts represent the goals that the group assumed and the group is striving to achieve and is determined to achieve. You have presented the pie charts with the share of coal-fired units, modernized coal-fired units. In 2018, the plan and agenda for 2025 and 2030. As far as sustainable goals are concerned, due to the specific of our operations and the field of energy generation supply, the goals that have been chosen and identified as to be most relatable to our characteristics and the type of operations that we are as a group involved in. You can see there are 5 goals that are dear to most dear to the group and reflected in our strategy. Goal number 7, affordable and green energy. And the most important is the increase in the share of installed capacity in low or zero emission sources to 28% in 2025 and to 66% in 2030, which for a group of this scale compared to other groups in Poland is a huge challenge because there are a lot of intervening factors. We need to we need to remember that Poland is located and Silesia especially is located geographically in the areas when we cannot depend on wind energy, for example, so much as other countries, other European countries. Goal 9, industry, innovation, and infrastructure. This is something that our sister company is developing on a constantly ongoing process for example, modernizing the grid or finding solutions that improve energy efficiency through the involvement of customers and demand side management, for example. Sustainable cities and communities, yet another goal that seems to be of vital importance for the development of not only the region, the country, but the entire planet. The company, the group is deeply dedicated to electromobility, to finding new solutions for storage of energy, for example. Goal 12, responsible consumption and production. Here, our strive is to manage the combustion and coal mining processes and byproducts that inevitably occur. So we find new usages for example, new applications for byproducts, because we strive for the closed cycle generation of electricity right now. And the last one, climate action. Here we've got expansion of renewable energy installations through acquisition of new builds, or developing projects that are entirely devoted to the construction of, for example, photovoltaic farms. For our purposes and in our understanding, 5 megawatt solar power plant is a big one, because it's our first, and we are very proud that we have managed to construct it, operate it with great success, and this is something that my colleague Artur Rzepka will describe and present you with right now.
Good morning and good afternoon. My name is Artur Rzepka. I work in Investment Development Support Office, which on daily basis deals with new projects which are mainly low or zero emission oriented. I would like to present our latest investment project, which was executed within the framework of Tauron's Green Tarn. In accordance with the project, Tauron developed its first 5 megawatts peak photovoltaic farm. The investment is located in the Jaworzno city center and covers 7 hectares. The environmental effect of the farm is CO2 emission reduction by 4,870 tons per year, as compared to the 200 megawatts coal-fired power unit. Jaworzno solar farm will enable energy supply to 2,073 households. Let us begin with some historical data. The beginning of energy industry in the city of Jaworzno dates back to 1898, when the first 320 kilowatts power unit was constructed for the sole purposes of the local coal mine. During next decades, the power plant was constantly modernized and developed, and its capacity and it was in operation until April 1998. The installation was demolished in 2000. Into 2020 history came full circle, and on the brownfield, which used to belong to Jaworzno 1 power plant, 5 megawatts peak photovoltaic farm was constructed. The top photograph shows 4 fields. On the left side there is a 20 kilowatts power switchgear, by means of which the farm is connected to the grid. The bottom photograph presents the liquidated coal-fired power plant shortly before this demolition. Next slide, please. And now some basic data regarding the installation. As was mentioned before, the photovoltaic farm in Jaworzno was constructed in the brownfield. Its construction took 5 months to the general contractor entered the site to the moment the farm was handed over to the operation. The installation comprises 12,194 monocrystalline solar panels, 110 watt peaks each, 90 sun inverters, 225 kilowatt each, 3 transformer stations, 0.8 to 20 kilovolts, 20 kilovolts power switch 2 are connected to the transformer station number 1. Fields number 3 is connected to the transformer station number 2, and the 4 fields is connected to the transformer station number 3. Due to difficult terrain, the photovoltaic panel mount racks were assembled on concrete footing instead of usual paling. Up to the end of November 2021, the farm in Jaworzno generated 5.2 gigawatts hour of electrical energy. 12,194 of this type of monocrystalline panels constitute the farm. The panels are connected in series, forming strings consisting of 24 or 26 panels. Next slide, please. 90 Sungrow inverters are assembled on the farm. 24 panel strings are connected to each inverter. Next slide, please. There are 3 transformer stations, 0.8 to 20 kilovolts assembled. 7 inverters from field number 1 and 2 are connected to the transformer station number 1. 6 inverters from field 3 are connected to the transformer station number 2, and 6 inverters from field number 4 are connected to the transformer station number 3. The photograph depicts transformer station number 2 located into the field number 3. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you.
Thank you for this presentation. Thank you for placing this specific focus on the responsible use of resources on the Green Turn project, as well as the photovoltaic farm. Thank you very much. I would like to remind all participants about the chat and about the networking session after all the presentations are done. So this ends the section of the webinar dedicated to big companies. And now we will move to our demo day section. So this is the beginning of our demo day section. You will hear from 6 startups, 3 Brazilian and 3 Polish, about their impact projects. And a few words to the startups, I would like to kindly ask you to stick to the time. You will see a clock on your screen, and please be aware of it. So I would like to welcome the first speaker, Mr. Daniel Moura, founder and CEO of the Brazilian startup PixForce, a startup that works with computer vision and image processing. The floor is yours.
All right. Thank you so much for the opportunity and to be part of this great webinar. I really enjoyed the previous presentations. Again, my name is Daniel Moura, founder and CEO of PixForce. A little bit of PixForce. PixForce is a artificial intelligence software company, and we apply this to computer vision. What is computer vision? Computer vision is processing of images. Our company is based in Brazil. We started 5 years ago, and we also have a branch in Finland. So we are pretty much close to everybody here in this webinar. We also have our headquarters in the US in Delaware. We have 60 professionals and many clients, as you can see here, mainly in the oil and gas sector, electricity, and mining. For the past 4 years, PixForce has been ranked the #1 artificial intelligence startup in Brazil for the 100 Open Startups ranking. And a month ago, we went to Germany competing with startups from all over the world, and we won the first place in the Startup Germany tour. So here's a quick overview of what type of work we do. We start with the platforms. It doesn't matter if the image is coming from a drone, a satellite, or a smartphone. We acquire this information, and it doesn't matter the type of sensor. It can be a RGB camera, a normal camera, can be a infrared camera, a LiDAR. And then our work starts developing the software that's going to analyze this great amount of data and provide to our clients reports, information, and data that's very quick to analyze and to make decisions. That's our goal in the end of the day, to process and give to our clients the actionable intelligence to make decisions. Here, a quick overview of our executive team. I want to emphasize the two ones in the right here, Horacio and Marcelo, our CTO and CIO. They are both PhDs with decades of experience with computer vision. Here we have an overview of our team, and that's our most precious asset, the so-called Pix Whizzes. They are the ones that are doing the work and doing this great development of software that's changing many industries. What differentiates PixForce from other companies starts with our team. Again, that's the most important part. We have a highly skilled board, and our structure that's ready to work in international projects, as I mentioned before, Brazil, Finland, and US. And this slide is very important to explain why this technology is so important now. The first reason is because artificial intelligence was not available 10 years ago, was mainly available in the academia. We didn't have this digital imaging, we didn't have smartphones with cameras, everything was so expensive. And we didn't have the GPUs. The GPUs, the graphic processing units, were very expensive. And now with the gaming industry growing so fast, we have all these GPUs very, very inexpensive. With all this changing the scenario, this technology was able to grow and flourish and apply to the industry. That is our goal in the end of the day. And what's the benefits to our clients? The clients, and here we saw Klabin and Taron, the two very good examples. Clients are thirsty, and they really need this type of information to manage all these assets. Industries in general, they have a lot of assets. It's very hard to manage all of that. And the benefits of our company is that we can apply this technology, and we have this client base in Brazil and abroad that can help us to develop all these great products that I'm going to show you in a second. Here is how we develop products. We start with normally a proof of concept, a pilot project, and a final project. And why we have this roadmap? Because in general we are developing products that they don't exist. They are completely novel in Brazil and across the board. Going to the electric sector, that's the most focus of PixForce nowadays. We develop a vertical called PixGrid because the electric sector is so important for us. So we have products that apply our technology to the generation of electricity, transmission, and distribution. The Tyron team here showed the solar panels. We have technology that apply to solar panel inspection, wind power generation. For all these applications, we have computer vision products. The first one here, let me go back here. Let me see if I can. It's a video. Unfortunately, I cannot show, but the video here was showing the automated process to provide alerts. So basically, we use free satellite images. There are processing areas, and if there's any land use change, our system, our artificial intelligence software is going to send an alert showing that something happened in the area. Here's another product. It's a fraud detection system. I'm not sure about Poland, but in Brazil, that's a very big problem because we have many areas, farms, and people are using electricity, and it's very hard to tell if they're actually paying for this electricity or not. So basically, what we do, we use satellite images. So we are seeing these huge irrigation farms, and we cross this information with the buildings, and all of this comes from images. And we use the data from the distribution companies, like where the consumption clients are, where the meters are, and data from the government. And we cross all this information with artificial intelligence, and we define where there's a highly probability of frauds in terms of electricity use. We also have products for inspection of transmission lines, and this has a very positive environmental effect because, as you know, there's a lot of forest fires that can be started with transmission lines, or sometimes they are alleged to start with transmission lines. So what we do, we have a layered system to monitor these huge areas using satellite images and then drone images and then smartphones in the field. So the crew can have all the information to have a faster type of inspection in the field. So here are some images. We are seeing parts that are broken. We are seeing a high temperature and provide all this information to the field crew. We also have a system to inspect distribution lines. So we have cameras and lidars mounted in a car, and this is in our R&D project. Taron was mentioning the great investment in R&D. We have the same here in Brazil. PixForce is involved in 3 R&D projects for the electricity sector, and this is one of them. There are many purposes, but the main one is to monitor the distance between the trees and the distribution lines using LiDAR mounted in a car. And why this is important? Because in terms of environmental effect, all the big cities, we all want to have trees around us. But these trees, they can be very close to the distribution lines. So it's very hard for the companies to know when they have to cut the trees or when they have to manage that, because they don't have any information. It's all visual. So we are now providing information in real time for the companies to know where they should manage the trees and where they should start. We also have other applications. Here is neighborhoods that can be too close to transmission lines, and this also has an environmental effect because sometimes there's deforestation, sometimes they shouldn't be there. And we use computer vision to very quickly find this and provide this information to the electricity companies. And finally here, we can use satellite images to define the consumption density of a specific neighborhood using artificial intelligence again, and cross this information with the consumption. So we can see again if there's a fraud here, but this is for an urban area using computer vision software. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for your presentation. Indeed, very well timed, 10 minutes exactly. And thank you for presenting your technology and telling us about how PixForce uses artificial intelligence to redefine the electricity sector. That was very interesting. Thank you for that. And now I would like to invite Mr. Przemek Pyziel, CEO at Planet Heroes, who will talk about the first global eco crowdfunding platform. Welcome.
Hello.
The floor is yours.
Thank you. Good afternoon or good morning. It depends on the location. My name is Przemek Pyziel, and I'm one of the founders of the Planet Heroes platform. And I will tell you a bit about the project that we've built together with my colleagues. So it's everything started from the private cleanups that we organized together with our friends, and it's all turned out to be the global business. And the idea for the project started in 2019, as together with the colleagues, as I mentioned, we've been organizing our private cleanups, and one day we sat down and we said that we have some great cover of skills. And it would be kind of pity if we won't match it to build something great, and with the purpose to protect the planet. And we built the link between the social crowdfunding and environmental protection. So we've built the platform, the place in the internet where all of the people involved in the ecological protection can meet. And how it works. The beauty of this project is in its simplicity, because the project, from the user perspective, it's extremely simple to use. But on the other hand, it's very complicated on the IT or backend side. The other important thing that is supposed to be mentioned at this stage is that our cooperation with United Nations. Because in 2019, we participated in the Science Policy Business Forum that took place in Nairobi. And then, first time in the history of the organization, there was organized the Green Tech Startups Marathon, the Green Tech Startups competition for the best green and scalable project in the world. And we participate in this contest, and luckily we win. And since then, we start our very good cooperation with the organization, and we are stakeholders of the UN Habitat. We cooperate in the Waste Wise City campaign, and many other initiatives related with the organizations. So the problem that we are facing is, of course, related to the plastic pollution, but not only. As you all know, the problem of the plastic pollution is increasing, and we see it in our everyday life. And what we are trying to address is our attitude to the problem and our attitude to the public places, because we believe that at some stage, at the very good scale, and like together with education, we can change the people attitude to the cleanup to the public spaces. And our solution to this problem is our platform that, as I mentioned, works very easy on the user side. So what you have to do to create the project on the Planet Hero, or to be our hero? So first of all, you have to, of course, organize the cleanup events. You have to publish you have to make the picture of your project before the cleaning, after cleaning project, after the cleaning project, showing us the proof that the work was done. At the end, you have to also provide us the picture showing that the trash was disposed in the proper place. After that, the project is published on the website, and it can be supported by everyone. It can be supported by individuals and the companies. As we've seen during last year, because we have like over 1 year of our operational work, we see that the project worked very well, like worldwide. We organized a number of action in almost every continent. We have the projects in India, in USA, Nepal. We've been able to clean up the coral reefs, the cities and many other places. Here you have some pictures showing examples of our favorite projects. This is the project that that was organized by our hero in Nairobi, when people collected and cleaned up the slums of Madare. Or this is one of our favorite projects organized in Zanzibar, where kids, like in the numbers of 800, clean up the city of Jambiani. And after publishing the project on the Planet Heroes website, they were able to collect donations to buy the first computer to schools. Here you have another one project from Indonesia, the project from Greece, and now we're luckily waiting for the project from Brazil. We cooperate with a number of companies, and this is something that might be interesting on this webinar, that our platform helped to allocate the CSR budget that company are supposed to spend. And what we figured out and what we are doing, we help to make the micro donations. So it means that the company helps to allocate the money flow for the particular user. We organize the peer-to-peer transaction. So it means that if the company will decide that would like to support the project from Brazil, we help them to split these donations and get to as many people, individuals, organizations, and NGOs as we can. And here you have the map showing our roadmap of projects for the last year. It's we organize, even now it's over 1,500 cleanups events in 21 countries, and we collected so far over 1 million kilograms of trashes. We also use the artificial intelligence, and together with Amazon, we integrated the tool called Amazon Recognition. And based on logo, text, and shape, we try to recognize with the probability the type of the trashes and the producers of the trashes that were collected by our heroes. And I would like to also show you some examples of the models that we cooperate with the companies, because we implemented something that we are very proud of, and this is called global pricing. So it means that in every country where we cooperate with our business partner, we guarantee that our hero will be paid €5 for every bag of trashes collected. And this is the cooperation that we have in the company called Tefal in Poland. It will be implemented probably in Ukraine, France next year. And we are very happy to open the cooperation based on this model in different countries. We also cooperate with other companies like Intervion that produce pro-eco products, and they support the cleanup activities with the 1% of their sales revenue. We also cooperate with Coca-Cola, helping them to organize the huge cleanup initiatives and cleanups events during the year. And one of our favorite clients is also McDonald's, for example, that due to the platform, or helpfully with the platform, organized over 400 cleanups events in 2021, and is planning to organize at least 2,000 cleanup events in the following year. We also help the companies to implement the SDG goals. And what's next? One of our key goals for 2022 is to go to South America and start our operation in especially in Brazil. We started with the cooperation with the gentleman called Giba, that is probably well known for the part of you from Brazil. And Giba agreed to be our ambassador and helping us to get the project in Brazil. And yeah, this is our plan. This is what we do. And hopefully you will enjoy the presentation. And I encourage every one of you to organize the cleanup if weather allows you to do that. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for the presentation. Thank you for showing us your platform and also for encouraging cleanup projects around the world, and for your planned project with Giba in Brazil as well. Our public might be interested to know that Giba is currently living in Poland, so maybe that's why the cooperation was able to start. All right, thank you very much, Mr. Pyziel. I would now like to invite Mr. Ricardo Hermani, the founder and CEO of the company HI Sustentável, to present their environmentally impactful project. Welcome, Mr. Ricardo. Feel free to start your presentation. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Well, I am Ricardo. Thank you for this opportunity. We are the HY Sustentável, and what to do, we build biodigesters. That it is an aerobic reactor and biological anaerobic reactor that will clean the organic matter and inside that reactors. Well, this equipment will provide basic sanitation, biogas, population quality of life, biofertilizer, thermal and electric energy, carbon credit, green certificate, water reuse, legal need, and new revenue and economies. We can change the type of digester because of the organic matter, but the main types of biodigester treated animal and animal residues, food industry waste, treatment of shroom, and organic waste in Sorry, 1 second. Well, okay. One of the problem of this we have in Brazil, like in almost all countries, the legal obligation to do the sanitation, to treat your own waste, and you have a lot of regulation of this. So what we do is the solution. We create a new revenue with this obligation. We transform problems in solution, treating the waste and producing biogas and electric energy from the biogas and biofertilizer as a result. In rural environment, we can remediate the release of greenhouse gas, the stream eutrophication, pathogens, veterinary system footprints. In urban, we can remediate business. We can remediate carbon footprints. We also have the World Health Organization that says that we know that $1, R1 applied in sanitation, you won other five, you saved other $5 in healthy system. You we can make better the footprint because of environmental footprint, because our equipment is 3 times more efficient than the other competitor. We can substitute the fossil fuels and entire carbon change, and we can substitute the chemical fertilizer and their entire carbon change. This is the rules, the standardization of the solution in Brazilian legal, the laws that permit you create this biomass energy. The market, the market overview, we can say that always have demand for energy, water demand for basic sanitation, and demand for food biofertilizer. In Brazil, we have a law that improve that the legal framework of basic sanitation. So everyone by law must treat their effluents and waste. And according to the Brazilian Association of State Sanitation Company, 20 billion reais annually would be necessary for sanitation to be universalized by 2033. We have another data about the sanitation, the wealth.
Hello, everyone. Unfortunately, we're having some connection issues. There seems to be a problem. However, thank you for presenting your solutions in the field of sanitation. And now, I guess we have to move on to the next company. You will hear from Waven, a company developing sustainable new generation energy harvesting and storage solutions. And for that, I would like to welcome Mr. Łukasz Cejrowski, the CEO of Waven.
Bardzo proszę.
Hello, welcome. The
Dzień
floor is
dobry.
yours.
Hi, everyone. So the presentation will pop up on the screen, right? Yes, thank you very much. Again, hi, everyone. I'm Łukasz Sajrowski. I'm presenting Waven, which is the company specialized in energy harvesting and applications of energy harvesting into the different usable areas of our daily life. I'll start with the executive summary. I have to click on the green arrow. Yes, here we go. So actually, now we are very much looking to convenience, right? So we are surrounded by all of these networks and mobility. We are all the time moving, and we are all the time mobile, changing places. And we would like to have at the same time that our devices, which are with us, are powered up with the solutions that are comfortable, they're independent, and preferably maintenance-free. Or maybe this maintenance will go down. And here we are actually facing a lot of disadvantages. So currently we have different power supplies in most of the devices that require either frequent battery exchange, battery replacement, or they need certain cable installations. And in many cases like that, it requires cost. It directs our attention to certain process, so we have to remember about it. And sometimes for industrial applications, it can also expose to certain dangers. So what do we see is actually that current batteries, just with the focus on the batteries, they have a very limited lifetime. This is a runway, so from one charge to another. This is also the overall lifetime of the batteries. They undergo through a deep depletion or deep discharging. They lose the efficiency in the aging process, and that overall shortens the lifetime of them. To be precise, there is several billions of disposable batteries being thrown away, and they're becoming a toxic waste every year. And that's more than 3 billion batteries, if it comes about number. So what do we do about it, or what we would like to do about this as a Waven company? We are developing the technology to use in the wireless recharging batteries, which make them kind of maintenance-free or maintenance is limited. And it will be surrounded by or powered by the surrounded electromagnetic fields. And that's the objective. I'll move to the next slide and give you more information about what we actually do. So you can see on the right side, there is the battery, which looks actually outside, identical to all of the batteries that are used by thousands of people or millions of people around the world and thousands of households every year or every day. But actually inside, those batteries are completely different. Inside, they are built out of the small energy storage, the conventional one. They have built up electromagnetic field capacity capturing antenna, and they also have the semiconductor-based electronic circuit that helps to convert this electromagnetic field into the useful electricity that powers up the little battery inside. So that makes this solution quite unique, because the battery can capture surrounding electromagnetic fields, convert them into the electricity, and store inside for future use. So that's actually the idea behind. Basically, when we look at the architecture of the solution, this is just example of AA battery. That's a very typical one that you can find in TV remotes, in many toys, and many daily tools and things that we use actually. But the architecture allows for scalability. So scalability can go slightly down to AAA batteries, but also to R6, R20, and so on and so forth. So actually that allows for scalability and application into different battery slots in everyday use tools. Just as an example, based on the test and based on the work that we've done in the past, we can have the A battery for TV remote control extended by 5 times. So for example, if the battery in normal TV remote control remains active for 5 years, we still never choose, we can extend it for 25 years. We can even argue if nobody probably has a TV for 25 years, but that's just kind of very visual and very tangible aspect, how we can present, how we can actually extend the lifetime of the batteries. And at the same time, as in the previous slide, we're limiting this toxic waste and contributing to more sustainable solution. Good. And who we are, I'll maybe walk through quickly who is the team. We started cooperation in 2019, and we have different experience, kind of complementary. The team started with 4 of us, and over time it's growing to 6 people right now. We have a background in renewable energy, optimization, electronics, and high tech. And the main motivation for us as a team is to explore the energy harvesting and storage applications and solutions that can be used in industrialized and commercialized later on. So on the team we have Arthur, who is actually specialized in prototyping and product development. Kamil got a master's in physics and a bachelor in micro and optoelectronics. There is a PhD. Rafa, who is our CTO, is experienced in optimizing energy projects, so basically for energy consumption in buildings. There's myself. I'm experienced with renewable energy, running big projects, product development, project management. I also hold Masters of Science in Engineering. Mateusz is coming from the space industry. He's been running a company for more than 10 years, specialized in research and development projects. And there is also Jarosław Siadacz, who is bringing a strong expertise in IP management, product technology development, commercialization. So that's very briefly about the team. I'll move to the next slide. This is just a visual. It's not that we just developed this overnight. So we started like a few years ago. You can see on the left side, we started very simple application. We want just to provide the electricity with bigger antennas to light up the small diode. After that, after we saw that this concept works, we moved slowly into the simulations and more advanced work. Not to spend all of the resources that we had, wanted to go more advanced with simulations and more analytical work. You can see in between there is actually some sort of antenna made in our own lab, one of the first generations that allowed us to power up actually this diode on the left side. And on the right side, you can see a number of generations of batteries. So that's how we actually got to the solution that we have right now. So how we have those batteries, Waven batteries AA, and they went through, there's actually much more. You can see like 8 versions on the picture. There's actually many more developed over time. So look, actually, it's quite obvious, right? Everyone is using AA batteries. So you could say, why would we even bother about commercial strategy? But still, we would like to develop those batteries for consumer market. So they sell toys and maybe TV remote, and once in time, everyone is buying them like with thousands. So that's one area for like everyday applications. Another one that we should not forget is actually business to business, which is more industrial and specialized. In this case, actually, the products based on wavelength technology, they don't have to be locked into AA form, right, or in anode battery. We can actually develop those solutions customized according to the needs of a customer industrial application, and that's actually how we'd like to proceed. 2 strategies: one highly scalable for B2C consumer, and another one is maybe less scalable, more specialized, more concentrating on the profit. And next one is how market looks. How is the market forecast? That's I believe my last slide. So global battery demand by applications is growing exponentially. It's actually very fast. Sorry, it's just switched to the previous slide. You can see actually the market is dominated by electric mobility. Our batteries can be used like as cells. If any one of you has seen the battery of Tesla, how it's made in the car industry, they're actually like thousands of little batteries put on the floor in the one panel. So that's one part. There's also energy storage. This is for different applications. We are very much looking at the consumer electronics for the markets. So this area, you can say the smallest, but still like representing the significant growth up to 2030. And then we see the global demand by region. Global demand by region is actually being led by China, followed by European Union, and then by US and rest of the world. We see the demand is strong. The work that we have done so far, we have a product in hand that solves certain issues and brings advantages to the disadvantages from the market. And yeah, that's Wavin. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Cejrowski, for your presentation, for sharing the interesting solutions regarding energy harvesting. And now we will continue our demo day presentations with Ms. Anna Ogar, the CEO of Microbe Plus, a biotechnology startup operating in the agri-tech sector, which develops innovative solutions for agriculture. Welcome. The floor is yours.
Thank you so much. Good morning and good afternoon, everyone. My name is Anna Ogar, and I'm representing Microbe Plus, biotech startups which try to make smart, sustainable crop protection. Food production already struggles to keep up with population growth. By 2050, we will need to double food production. Unless we change the farming practices, the world has just 16 years of agriculture opportunity before it will be left without fresh water, and we will lose all the fertile soil. Global warming is facing challenges due to climate change, lack of water, shrinking resources, rising CO2 level, and loss of biodiversity. And farmers' pains are on the top of global challenges related to the climate change, but also presence of the pathogens that cause up to 80% of the yield losses, residues levels that they are finding in a food if they not apply properly crop protection product. And food security for the consumers is crucial because we all wanted to have high quality food without pesticides, and how those things are possible with current technologies. And can we help farmers to find the right solution for environmentally friendly crop protection strategies? Indeed, we can by giving them new tools that they can help to stimulate and protect plants' growth. We designed probiotics that have two functions in one, to protect and to stimulate plant growth. Its unique composition that is effective against wide range of difficult to control pathogens. What's important is compatible with the chemical products, therefore farmers can have both. I think someone is changing my slides. And additionally, our solution is sustainable because we used food waste material in order to multiply our product. And our goal as it is to bring our product to every farmer in every corner of the world. Our technology can significantly lower carbon footprint and CO2 level. Our product is proved to be safe for human and environment. It improves biodiversity because we bring new, not GMO modified microbes into the environment. And on the top of that, we can create new form of protection to fight back plant superbugs. We already proved in a field condition that our solution works and it's effective. We tested on a wide range of crops, starting from cereals, potatoes, sugar, beet, fruits, vegetables, ending with cannabis, which is fun to work with. And we would like to expand and start testing our technology on coffee and cocoa beans, also in eucalyptus, if that would be possible, because within our scope, we cannot test it, but maybe with Brazilian partners, we can do so. And our field's experiments show that our biological product is as efficient as a chemical one, which is quite unique for biological product, which most of them show lower effectiveness compared to the synthetic one. But the technology that we apply really proves that it's working effectively in open field application, which is not a case for many biological products. Mainly, they are applied for greenhouse conditions. And also, what is important, our product can be used to extend shelf life of fruits and vegetables, that for later time we can consume them in a good quality. And in the end, what farmers can obtain by using our technology, we can significantly improve productivity and increase the yield even by 10%. Thanks to that, they can produce high quality food without pesticides and be more resistant to climate change while safeguarding the yield. Cooperation is the key to success, and that's why we establish strong partnerships with both business partners, but also with innovation centers, university. They helping us to build up our technology, but also verify them in a real condition and develop new version and new prototypes. We've been recognized by international committees. We won second prize, innovation prize, in a contest organized by AIT Food. We've been also finalists of a Mass Challenge Switzerland program. And also we actively participate in program Climate Kick, organized by AIT and our Climate Accelerator. All of that is possible thanks to our diverse and experienced team, experienced both in running R&D project on an international level, but also agroeconomists, business specialists that try to put the strategy to set up our products on the market, not just on a local scale, but globally. And currently, we're looking for business partnerships, farmers, and investors who will help us to create sustainable business and scale up globally while care about environment. Thank you so much for attention.
Thank you very much for your presentation. Thank you for describing the biostimulant solutions developed by Microbe Plus and your impressive achievements. It was very interesting to listen to. And now we will continue our demo day with the presentation by Carlos Roberto Rocha, the founder of CEO of Biometano Energia, a Brazilian clean tech working with biogas and biomethane. Welcome, Carlos. The floor.
Thank you. Biometano Energy is a cleaner startup that working using biogas to produce energy and produce fuel. The mainly subject this company is to produce the biogas genset. Un moment, please. Yes. The company has developed the technology to work using motors in automotive industry for building the biogas genset because the question of cost. Actually the genset using biogas as fuel is based in diesel motors, and the cost of this equipment is very high. To reduce the costs, the point of starting the development, the technology was using the motors producing in large scale. For example, you use the motor of the GM company and developed two system for operate the genset connected to grid. Or this this technology, the own technology developed to reduce cost and improve the operation condition to connect the grid is the mainly product of the biomethane. But it's not only this technology. We working to the system for collect biogas of the landfill system, and you have we have a complete range of products for the collection of the gas of landfill, and the system to study the production analysis, the production of the biogas, composition, and the use. The company is prepared to capture the biogas and convert the biogas to electricity or convert to fuel in 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 best condition, né, for the consumer. This is a new product that you are developing is a system to to upgrading the biogas to produce biomethane and compress to produce CNG, ou compressed natural gas, né, based in biomethane. This is because one moment, please. Okay. Okay. This is a project and solution of the biomethane energy implementation of optimized biodigesters according to the client's needs. You are working in different types of the biodigester for manure, for cattle or pigs, and the system for industrial wastes and another kind of the materials. And the biodigester, né, to produce biogas, and the products for convert this biogas into useful products. And biogas treatment, a solution for biogas treatment and transformation into biomethane. Né? This technology is working this moment, and discovering new forms to upgrade the biogas with reduced cost, né? And use alternative energy supply equipment for generation of electricity for biogas. This mainly equipment, né? Genset to grid connection, conversion of another operation, the company's conversion of automotive engines to use the NGV or biomethane compressed for use in vehicles. This is pictures of your products and the motor genset and the had well for landfill biogas collection. The biogas genset is small and medium sized biogas genset about the 15 at 55 kilovolt ampere using electronic injection technology. This is a proprietary technology for biogas and the synchronization system this developed in the company. And, another product is a complete skid for biogas burning. This system is a compressor and a system for inverter to control the speed of motor of the compressor and the system to burn the gas in flare because to reduce the environmental impact of the methane to reduce to burning the methane to produce CO2, carbon dioxide. When this gas is not used for genset to produce energy, is a security equipment. The biomethane energy is started or localized in Itajubá, Minas Gerais. It's I am it's position to ask and contact. Sorry.
Thank you very much for your presentation. That was our last startup presentation for today. Thank you to all startups for sharing their knowledge and interesting and impactful solutions. I would like to remind everyone about the chat and about the fact that we will have a networking session after all the presentations are done. And now we will move to the last block of presentations for today, which are the venture capital and public investors. Hello again. Thank you once again to all the startups. We are now starting the last section for today concerning funding opportunities in Poland and Brazil, specifically for sustainability projects. And first, we will hear from Mr. João Victor Menino, Head of Growth at Novo Agro Ventures, a Brazilian VC fund that focuses on the agriculture sector. Bem-vindo. Hello. The stage is yours.
Okay, thank you. Hello. And in the world, we are 7.7 billion people. By in 2015, we will be 9 billion. In the next 30 years, we will have fed more than 1.3 billion people. Is a heaven problem. The capacity the world growth in the purchase power of people go fast and the capacity to have produce food. Where can the solution be? Brazil has in Brazil, sorry. And Brazil has over 6 million rural producers. In Brazil is a tropical country, high drink water table and fertile land. Who we are Novo Agro Ventures. The Novo Agro is a corporate builder focused technologies for agribusiness, the so-called agritech. We map the challenge of agribusiness and the rural producers, and we will invest in technology companies which are developed solutions for the problems. In the Brazil is the 6 million rural producers. 9% are small or medium producers, and they are all the great capacity generating and selling business. Is the center is a Novo Agro Ventures Aper. We are an ecosystem of solutions for agribusiness with the purpose to run the technology and sustainability with the Brazilian rural producers, mainly and the small and medium producers. Together, we go further. We are an investment fund and have shareholders. We have an investment fund and we have a main shareholders. And the FANG, the first is a FANG, is the second is the FCJ group, and the angels investors. The FANG is a FANG system largest federation of agriculture and livestock in Brazil, with 40,000 associate producers from the most varied producing shapes. And we have a FCJ, the largest network venture builder in Latin America, preserving the European, United States, Mexican, and Finland, with the other business hours of pharmacy, retail, and retail. And the angel investor, Smart Money. And today we have 18.5 investors. For the 14% are rural producers, 40% are the FANG system contributors, and 90% have some connection with agro business. Together, your limit is not have limits, it's the Novo Agro. It's the venture builder 4.0 model and investment holding, and before or after portfolio management and the network and the exit of the startups in the portfolio. How does it work? The first startup select through the student holding process. We select startups that operate are interesting for our portfolio and schedule and interview the technical evaluation. After the first conversation, the startup in the written investment thesis, startup technical evolution to analyze the solutions, feasibility, and application. In the third, investors approved in the technical evolution, the startup participation for the investor day event were evaluated from the business point view by a partner of judged in the time present in the pitch. I'm sorry. In the final selection, I'm sorry. In the final selection, also the moment of the startup comes from the portfolio from Novo Agro. What is characters of startup? Startup is your company with a stable and scalable business. Startup profiles, we are looking for investment in these solutions agribusiness, scalable products, release MVP, sorry, leaving the last 5 customers and more people tend and the full time the work in the startup. Investment in the Novo Agro. Why investment in startup? The return, the potential in diversification, the patrimony is the exit. Is the diversification is the great point because you not one startup, you have one portfolio and you invest in the new agro. Diversification for building and may generate the time. And now this portfolio. And today I have a 30 startups in portfolio, ranging from solution for coffee and growing and cattle management certification. Is there great memory is off because it's stay in Minas Gerais, start in Minas Gerais, but now I have three new startups and cattle. Is the number of patrimony and 5,061 May per start. Time the portfolio, 3 start negotiation, 85 investor and 39 sold out quotes. The captation in now is 3 million 14 and the portfolio valuation is 24 million, 5 million. How become an investor in Novo Agro Ventures? The first round is the 13th and sold out is the first and is the now is the second round co-founder and starting May this year and left 13 quotes. In the next is the last is the opening in Sun. I don't know is the timing correct, but is the 13 quotes too. Is the first is the value is the 50,000 is the second 63 is the for last and 89. With value investment is the what? Oh no, it's the investment return, value to share, and second market is they exit the startup. They exit the startup the moment is the Novo Agro. I'm sorry. For entertainment through enterprise and believe the state entertainment as a driving force for chance. We are seeking investment innovation solutions with right growth potential as we know that is a true technology that the traditional industry will want to continue growing. Your motivation is know that we are helping and build the great business of tomorrow, possibility internet with the real economy. This is the time for the Novo Agro Ventures and hence this land. Agro doesn't stop and the Novo Agro it's up. Thank you.
Thank you for your presentation. Thank you for sharing with us about Novo Agro and talking a little bit about those inside processes of choosing the right startups, etc. And now I would like to invite Ms. Aleksandra Miłobenska, the Senior Specialist at the Global Challenges Department of the National Center for Research and Development. Hello, and the floor is yours.
Hello, thank you for the invitation to this event and thank you for joining together forces of Brazil and Poland in the green technologies. Bom dia, dzień dobry. Today I would like to present founding opportunities in Poland for research and development works in green technologies. So, first of all, I would like to clarify that the national contact points are support structures established by member states and associated countries and recognized by the European Commission in order to help participants access the different European Union program opportunities. And why I'm talking about this? Because I'm the senior specialist in the National Contact Point in Poland, which is also a part of the department in National Center for Research and Development, NCBR, in Poland. And most of the Polish participants probably are familiar with the founding scheme of National Center for Research and Development. And I'm sure that every one of us have heard about the Horizon Europe program. So National Contact Point is located in Poland, and we are the team of 40 experts. We developed the synergies and co-designing the research and development national funding system for the forthcoming years, because the program that is established right now will last till 2027. We are obviously cooperating with European Commission, other European institutions and member states, Polish governmental partners, potential and actual beneficiaries of European framework programs for research and innovation. So what can we offer you? We focus on disseminating the information about the whole program, Horizon Europe, the current framework for the research and development. We are also organizing the seminars, workshops, trainings, conferences, info days, and even brokerage events to build the network of the partners, because all the Horizon programs are focusing on the global changes. Therefore, we need the partners from various countries. When we talk about the partners, we also support the search of the partners, so we can connect you with some Polish partners and R&D here. We can also help you to write the proposal, consult the idea, and also check the proposal that you want to submit in the concrete topic. So even though Poland and Brazil seems to be far away from each other, we know that European Union and Brazil share the long-standing relationships based on the cultural and historical ties, especially that Brazil started cooperation with European Union already in 1992 as one of the first countries in this field. We also know that Mercosur, some kind of common market, very well known to the Brazilian partners. It has been around for 30 years already, and in 2019 also European Union has a trade market with the agreement with the Mercosur, so we are having common markets. Moreover, we are also focused on the innovation and fighting the climate change in the mission innovation, which is coalition established on COP21, so 5 COPs ago, and Brazil is also a part of the mission innovation as like the European Union, which will be important later when we are talking about the eligibility for the funding. We know that we have some joint steering committees meetings between UE and Brazil, and last time both countries in March acknowledged that in the center of their focus will be the research and innovation in the strategic plan, focusing on green, sustainable technologies and digital transition and the global health. It is all connected to the well-known European Green Deal, and it will be implemented in the Horizon Europe program for the years 2021 till 2027. What is more, we already know that in the end of October this year, the administrative arrangement under the new European program for research and innovation was already signed with Brazil. So all the administrative arrangements are ready to work. so we don't have to worry about this. It's simple enough to have the successful proposal, and then we will finance the research. Why I'm saying that it's really simple, because looking at the history of the collaboration, we already know that in previous framework, Horizon 2020, Brazil and Poland successfully collaborated. We had 27 joint projects. Most of them belonged to the Marie Skłodowska-Curie actions, which I will introduce later, and other were focused on environmental and climate actions. And here we can see the netto funding obtained by both countries. But that was past, and the present is Horizon Europe. So now I will shortly discuss what is behind this topic. So we have three main pillars in the Horizon Europe, and it's very similar to the previous Horizon 2020. However, there, of course, must be some changes. So we still have pillar Excellent Science. Here we have a European Research Council, which is new. It was in different pillar before. We have Maria Skłodowska-Curie Action, which is focused on mobility and individual research. Like ERC grants, also research infrastructure. It's also financed within the Horizon Europe. We have Pillar 3, focused on Innovative Europe, focusing more on the entrepreneurs, boosters for them, some accelerators. But today I will be mainly focusing on the Pillar 2, Global Challenges and European Industrial Competitiveness, and the clusters that are derived here. Health is the cluster 1. Also we have cluster Culture, Creativity and Inclusive Society, Civil Security for Society, Digital, Industry and Space, Climate, Energy and Mobility, Food, Bioeconomy, Natural Resources, Agriculture and Environment. We have also additional work on the widening participation and strengthening the European research area. What's interesting for you can be the money available in the programs. So whole Horizon Europe is more than 95.5 billion euros. Together with the Euratom, it's almost 97 billions. And who can participate in the calls announced in the framework? Actually, everybody, because we talk about the research centers, universities, industries, small and middle entrepreneurs, public administration, associations, and international organizations. It's easier if you are already a member or associated partner of European Union, but I will talk about it. I will talk about it later. What are the main drivers of change in the Green Deal? We want to accelerate the twin transition, find the solution in areas such as decarbonization of industry or sustainable mobility, which were both mentioned already during today's presentations. We are also focusing on strengthening resilience and prepare crisis. So research and development must be done in fields of health, digital, socioeconomic, and climate. We also want to support the Europe's competitive edge. So we have the global race for knowledge, and we know that the novelty is selling well on the markets. So we are looking for those in cybersecurity, space, AI, 5G, and again, electromobility. So who can apply for those interesting grants? Most of the projects will be carried out in international consortia, so we need more than one institution to get the money. The program is open for the international participation. Also, the third countries like Brazil, with good capacity in science, technology and innovation, can take advantage of it. We also can include partners from other countries not collaborating with the European Union, and that the association process with Horizon Europe program is still underway. Lately, 5 more countries joined the agreement, and we are ready to launch some calls. So the Brazilian researchers, enterprises, and institutions can team up with European partners. So the collaboration with Poland can be very fruitful, and such consortia can develop together knowledge, research data, and leading scientific teams and networks. Also, for collaborative actions, Brazilian participants will have to determine for themselves the source of funding and the resources for their part of the project. As I said, not every country that is not associated with the European Union may be financed. However, there are some dedicated calls, which I will present later, that will fully finance the Brazilian partners. Okay, so what about the innovations? As I'm a specialist in the cluster 5, climate, energy, and mobility, I would like to present some of the main destinations in the call. In the calls and in this cluster, as the frameworks are announcing the calls for just 2 years, till 2022, we have more than 1 billion euros for climate, energy, and mobility topics, and in all frameworks there are more than 15 billion euro for funding. There are 6 main destinations in Cluster 5, and they are focused on many technologies. I will present just a few of them to give you a clue what the calls are about. However, if you want to participate, I would advise to go to read the call in details and also consult the national contact point for any advice. So the destination 1 is climate sciences and responses for the transformation towards climate neutrality. Here the technologies will be mostly focused on modeling of the potential contribution of the circular economy in Europe to greenhouse gases emission reductions, both current and the future potential of it. We also want to have tools and strategies to communicate the results of the European climate change research and the models and integrated assessment models connected to the climate. The second destination is cross-sectoral solutions for the climate transition. Here we are talking about the batteries, which were also mentioned today. So we know that we need to invent novel sorting technologies, also methods for lithium extractions, more selective ones, and the new refining processes. Also continuous process for precursor materials, as we want to replace the currently used batch processing. We are also looking for new advanced materials that will enable the higher energy and power density in batteries. Destination 3 is sustainable, secure, and competitive energy supply. So here we will be focusing on the energy networks, buildings, mobility, and industry, and the integration of other climate neutral renewable energy carriers such as clean hydrogen. We want to modernize it and also check how it can work in global perspective. We are also looking for innovative energy storage solution, and as it is a trend right now, the European Union also would like to develop carbon capture, utilization, and storage. Next destination, number 4, is efficient, sustainable, and inclusive energy use. So here we will find the calls and topic focused on digital technologies, which will optimize energy consumption and improve the tools for digital simulation and digital twinning in the European Green Deal. We are looking also for automated monitoring of energy performance of buildings, heating and cooling systems, heat upgrade technologies, smart buildings, and smart energy services. Next destination is clean and competitive solutions for all transport modes. The flagship of this destination is zero emission mobility. Here we will need technologies reducing environmental impact on biodiversity, noise pollution, and waste management. So I would say all aspects of the emissions in the shipping sector. We also want to find digital and European satellite navigation solutions for the waterborne sector. We are looking to integrate air traffic and we will focus on digitalization, automation, and artificial intelligence. We are also looking, as usually, for new energy carriers that can support the hybrid electric architectures and can be used in aircraft configurations. The last of the destinations in the cluster 5 is safe, resilient transport and smart mobility services for passengers and goods. And here we want to find innovative methods to come up with the technologies and system for passengers and goods. And here the partnership of connected, cooperative, and automated mobility takes the lead. We are also looking for multimodal transport system through sustainable and smart urban freight transport and logistics. And as the last technology, we are looking to upgrade the digital infrastructure for smarter vehicles and operations. So I mentioned that there are some specific calls that will finance Brazil, but also if you liked any of the previous topics, if you have an exceptional infrastructure, knowledge, research lab, or anything else that cannot be done but by other countries, then Brazil will also qualify for the financing. For the details, please contact the national point and we will give you further information. However, we already have those topics that are this one marked in green are already opened for Brazil and Poland because they assume that the LAC countries will be a part of it. We are also looking forward to the public policies and indicators for well-being and sustainable development. This topic will be opened in January. And it's connected to cluster 2. In cluster 5, so the one focused on energy, climate, energy, and mobility, we will have the calls open in May and September. And those topics will be focused on digital solutions for defining synergies in international renewable energy value chain, and also best international practice for scaling up sustainable biofuels. Here, the Brazil is very welcome as a part of the mission innovation, and we need to have the business models and global systems for such a working resolutions that can be implemented in whole Europe and also at the global scale. Therefore, European Union decided that we want to have the partners from around the world. As always, in European Union, we want to work with the Sustainable Development Goals. They were already showed by Mr. Kozak in the key opening speech. And for those topics, I would say that we have plenty of them to connect with the topic. I will mention just the affordable and clean energy, industry, innovation and infrastructure, sustainable cities and communities, responsible consumption and production, and climate action. I would like to highlight that in all the calls, we are looking for other SDGs like gender equality, reducing inequality, and partnerships for the goals. So just to remind you, as the NCP in Poland, we are here to inform you about the Horizon Europe programs and initiatives, organize the very diverse workshops and trainings for you, help you to find the partners. And I would like to say that we have already some people interested in the Horizon Europe, mostly in the CCUS and heat storing. They are looking for innovation. They have the infrastructure to do it. So if you are looking for, if you want to check your innovation at the pilot scale, but you don't have the infrastructure, please contact me and I will share the information about the possible partnerships with you. We are looking forward to consult your proposals and also support you on legal and financial issues and the project management. I will also put my contact information in the chat, but here it is on the last slide of my presentation. So thank you very much for spending this time with me, and thank you for the invitation.
Thank you for this very informative presentation, for talking about the national contact point and the opportunities for cooperation within the Horizon Europe framework. That was very interesting. And now I would like to pass the mic to Ms. Carolina Madrak, Chief Expert at the Department of International Cooperation, also from the National Center for Research and Development. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Thank you for the invitation. I am pleased to present you the details of our new program called InnoGlobo. A few days ago, we closed the first call for proposals, but the program will continue on similar terms in the future, so I think it may be an interesting opportunity to establish cooperation between Polish and Brazilian entities. One of the main goals of InnoGlobo program is to provide supporting for Polish entities like research organizations or entrepreneurs in their cooperation with foreign partners in developing and implementing modern technologies or solutions in a broad geographic context. The other goal is to increase effectiveness of NCBR operations by reaching out globally without the necessity of launching every time dedicated bilateral programs. And the last but not least is to provide broaden openness to cooperation with international partners. We repose hope in InnoGlobo that this program will allow us to achieve many different benefits. For example, we hope it will result in excellence development in research and tomorrow's innovation, will help open widely business and science to the world and support global research dialogue, develop cooperation between foreign units and Polish R&D entities. We hope it will increase competitiveness in R&D, make common the access to markets and research infrastructure, and also help promote science and technology globally. To give an idea about the program, it is the best to discuss it on the example of the requirements of the first call. The thematic scope of the project that can be applied in our call must be in line with the current Polish list of national smart specializations. And this list is very comprehensive and covers basically most fields of science. And it defines economic priorities in the area of R&D and focuses investments on areas that ensure that the added value of the economy and its competitiveness of foreign markets. Participation in the call is open exclusively to international consortia comprising Polish entities and at least one foreign partner. And as a Polish entity, we understand research organizations, entrepreneurs, or consortia consisting only of research organizations, only of entrepreneurs, or both entrepreneurs and research organizations. So all configurations are possible. And what is important, NCBR may provide funding for projects only to Polish entities. And it can provide for industrial research, for experimental development work. The NCBR's budget for funding projects selected in the call is 10 million zloty, so it's circa about $2.5 million. The minimum amount of funding for work packages implemented by the Polish entities within a single project is 400,000 zloty, and the maximum amount is $1.5 million. The deadline for submission of application has ended in the end of November 2021, and now we have started evaluation. It will take probably till May 2022. But the second call for the proposal is planned to be announced in the first quarter of the year 2022 and will last approximately 5 to 6 months. The call is directed to international consortia consisting of Polish entities or Polish entities and at least one foreign partner. There are no limitations as to legal structure of the foreign partners that will be a part of consortium. And foreign partners may originate from all the countries with which Poland maintains diplomatic ties, except these countries which NCBR regularly organizes bilateral calls for R&D projects with. And the reason is that we would like to avoid the effect of overlapping of the bilateral programs by INOGLOBO. And every foreign partner should submit the declaration that he had secured funding for project implementation. And in this document, partners should declare what kind of work will be conducted by him in the project and should point the source of his funding, whether it will be his own contribution or external one, like bank loan, credit loan, approval, or funding declaration from R&D financing agency. The application submission process will have only one stage. And as I said earlier, NCBR may provide funding for projects implementation only to Polish entities. And the project can last from 2 to 3 years and may comprise a maximum 5 work packages planned to be performed by Polish entities. And there are no limitations as to work packages conducted by foreign partners. The total funding contributed by all the foreign partners forming the international consortium should make up a minimum of 30% and a maximum of 70% of the overall budget allocated by the international consortium for the project. Before submitting the application, partners should sign a partnership agreement. And now a few words about evaluation process. It includes the 3 stages. First is to check application eligibility. So it includes fulfillment of formal conditions of participation specific in the rules of the call. For example, correctness and completeness of application with required attachments. A second step is expert evaluation and is carried out in the case of the positive formal evaluation, of course. It includes, for example, scientific and technical excellence and design originality, as well added value of cooperation between consortium partners. Third stage is to compile a ranking list with applications to receive funding. So what are the steps that have to be taken? Primarily, partners should establish the idea of the project. They should sign the international consortium agreement, then clarify idea of the project and the scope of plant. Afterwards, the Polish, it's important, applicant may submit the proposal in international project. And followingly, NCBR conducts formal and expert evaluation, publishes a ranking list with applications recommended to receive NCBR funding. And for the successful project, the director of NCBR issues the decision to grant them. And finally, the last step is signing the funding agreement with NCBR. During the program, we prepare promotional activities on a wide scale, both with social media and websites, by announcements, one-pages, presentations, articles, videos, and promotional jingles. In the future calls, we are willing to establish cooperation with R&D funding institutions, and this cooperation can take a twofold shape. It can be realized by either funding Polish and foreign partner of the INOGLOBO project, where Polish partner would be, of course, funded by NCBR, and whereas foreign partner by the funding agency from abroad. Or this cooperation can be realized by simply supporting, promoting the idea of research and development cooperation between countries in the framework of the INNOGLOBO program. At the end of my presentation, I would like to share with you one of our short jingles, which was promoting INNOGLOBO in our last call. And thank you for attention.
Thank you very much for giving us this thorough information about the INNOGLOBO program and showing us the video. It is now my pleasure to welcome Ms. Gisele Ramos, the CEO of ESG Venture Builder, a Brazilian VC fund that focuses on environmental, social, and corporate governance. Hello, Gisele, welcome. The mic is yours.
Hello. Okay, thanks. So, hi, my name is Gisele Ramos. I am of ESG Venture Builder. I am responsible for investor and board of directors relationship. I manage the operations team in Brazil, and I'm looking for good ESG techs in innovation hubs around the world. So, sorry, but the material that will be presented is in Portuguese, but I promise I will speak in English. At last, I will try. So, some specifics were recent in Brazil. And when we talk about this approach, people only associate with environmental practices. Although the acronym represents three areas: environmental, social, and governance. Diversity, equity, labor relations, social conflicts, ethics, compliance are also parts of ESG. It's a complex universe with multiple challenges and with many opportunities for innovation in Brazil. Companies in different segments around the world need to undergo adjustments if they want to remain activity. Not investing in ESG means risking environment fines, image crises, and brand devaluation, facing high turnover rates and market loss. Consumers are keeping an eye on companies with sustainability, and investors too. In this new market, sustainability means business success, main in the future. The startup market in Brazil turned over more than $100 million in investments in August. Thus, in 1 month, $700 million in investments. It's a very hated market. We believe that startups can be the answer to the challenge faced by corporations in their ESG practices. In this contest, approximately 45 days ago, we inaugurated BCG Venture Build. We make startups stronger and help them to assess Brazil the challenge of to solutions in our portfolio. So we are in Belo Horizonte, Minas Gerais. We belong to São Pedro Valley, a strong national innovation ecosystem that has already created some Brazilian unicorns, Hotmart, Simpla, some examples. So we are part of FCJ Investment Holding 2, which was created in 2013 and is already present in 5 countries now. So in our first year, we're looking for a solution to reduce greenhouse gas emissions, using natural resources efficiently, generate clean and smart energy, startups that promote positive social and good relationship between a corporate and a corporate stakeholders, clients, whatever, that support the construction of transparent governance or that are focused on development of territories. Our eyes are more attentive to some sectors. Agribusiness is one, mining, education, tourism, logistics, and smart cities. We will operate in B2B and B2G models. In the first year, we will look for 7 startups with different maturity levels and digital startups and biotech startups. In 5 years, we will reach 30 solutions in our portfolio. We offer for startups smart money, shared service, market data, experienced team in strategy, powerful networking, and preparation to access capital in our main national and international partners. The best money is a business transaction money, so we help startups to sell. To join our portfolio, a startup must go through a careful selection process with our investors. All investors participate in our process, which includes interviews, pitch presentation, and valuation analysis. And if all goes well, we will start building your traction and scale plan. We have more than 450 investors in our network who contribute with their key knowledge, business experience, and networking. Together, we can build a better world with better and more aware companies. Connect to our network, register your startup on your website. This material will be translated and shared with you. I will put my contacts in the chat. Thanks so much. It's okay.
Thank you for your presentation. Thank you for explaining to us your mission and your internal process of bringing innovative projects to bigger companies so that they can meet their ESG goals. That was very interesting and informative. So now we are coming to the last presentation of today's webinar. And for that, I would like to welcome Mr. Sven Zagała, partner at Invento Capital, a Polish VC fund that's part of the BraSilesia accelerator and acts in various sectors such as AI, robotics, fintech, medtech, and many others. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. After a long day and very many interesting presentations, it's a pleasure to present to you Invento, the venture fund that is part of the BraSilesia ecosystem. We are a fund that was founded 3 years ago, 6 partners, including Katarzyna, who is from the Silesian University of Technology. So this is one of the investors in our fund, and as a result, a person and close link to the university. But we also have people who are specializing in medtech, I myself in technology, as well as finance. We have the legal team and analysts below. Invento has got 3 main activities. We have an accelerator that supports small startups right from the beginning, just 2 people, a dog and a PowerPoint. We have Business Angels Network, which we co-invest with, and this is about half of our projects, as well as venture capital investment in startups and projects that we select. The capitalization of the fund is about 30 million euro. This is very important that we are actually a public-private partnership. So as you have seen in one of the previous presentations, NCBIR, the Polish National Research and Development Agency, is one of the partners of Invento Capital. They provide about 70% of the capital in the form of a donation to the startups. This allows us to make very early, maybe high-risk investments in startups so that we can see that they grow in the future. The seed investment first is about 50k euro, while the major is up to 200k euro, 250k euro, 1 million zloty investment. We aim to exit within 3 to 7 years, like most venture funds. Impact is very important to us. We have about 6 companies already who are in the clean tech, eco materials, and new energy. While we do not have a specific area that is mandated by the fund, we do specialize in the clean tech impact, in AI robotics, where we have already 10 investments, and also in the agri and other businesses. So you can see that we already have about 21 companies invested, and more are coming on board. VC funding is about smart money, and I think this is crucial to the investments and to the startups which come to us. You can see that the value of the smart money increases the value both of the revenue of the company as well as the number of people, helps it grow. This is something that we are developing through the internationalization of our fund, and I think this connection with Brazil and this and the opportunity to present here is very important. We also have some connections in other parts of the world, from Sweden, from Switzerland, from Singapore, where we have got partners or people who are cooperating with us on sourcing projects. This is one of the key advantages for startups when they look for a new investor. The BraSilesia accelerator is one of our initiatives, but we are also quite deeply connected with the Silesian economic zone, which we support. We have got the Invento Accelerator, which is the startup or the very early seed, pre-seed funding, and then the Invento joint venture. And I would really like to talk a little bit about the Invento joint venture, because this is a model that could work very well with Brazilian companies. The way we structure it is that we could form a joint venture with a Brazilian startup or a Brazilian company that wishes to enter the Polish market or European market. It is important for us, because we are funded by the Research and Development Agency, that there is a research and development component as the primary activity of the companies that we invest in. But this could be doing research and development on the required certification to enter, whether the components or the materials or the services meet the standards of European Union. We have done such projects. It could also be a development of completely new technology, where Poland, which has got some excellent universities and schools and research institutions, you could have Polish scientists co-work or Polish engineers co-work with Brazilian. And in this setup, we would provide part of the funds, and a Brazilian company could provide the second part of the funds for a cooperation, a covert and joint venture on the Polish market. And I think this could be very, very interesting, especially given the fact that we are able to leverage the European Union funds through NCBR. The partnerships that we are working with, as I mentioned, is of course the Silesian Economic Zone, NCBR. We also, among our investors, have Cogito Capital, which is a US Luxembourg-based VC fund, which gives us a springboard for the next round of our investments. And Spinos, which is the spin-off of the Silesian University with venture arm, and this is one of the investors in Invento Capital. As you can see, I have a short presentation, well, the logos of the companies we have invested in. You have seen Planet Heroes today on the presentation. This is definitely one of the most impactful projects we have. We are very proud that they are so successful in cleaning the planet and developing as part of our portfolio. We were the seed investor and remain so far the seed investor in VC investor in Planet Heroes. But you also have seen the Waven technology, which is the eco-friendly batteries. So I think this is things that are quite interesting. Besides that, there are some deep tech and some SaaS solutions that we work with. So this is our portfolio. I would invite you to get in touch with us if you plan to maybe invest in Europe or spread your business and wings in Europe. We'll be very glad to support your endeavors. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Zagawa, for your presentation and for encouraging and supporting Brazilian startups. Thanks to all the representatives of VC funds and public investors for your participation and supporting innovative projects with a mission. we've come to the end of our webinar. I would like to thank all the speakers and all the viewers. I hope you enjoyed our event. I hope you learned some new things or maybe even saw opportunities for your business. And I encourage you to stay with us for our networking session. If you can't stay with us, you can always visit the BraSilesia website or drop us an email. So we hope we will stay in touch. Thank you very much, and I wish you a nice networking session.